Good morning. Welcome to the Ops Briefing for Wednesday, September 5th. I'm Mike McElwain. I'm the incoming planning section chief, and I don't think the objectives have changed whatsoever. So with that, let's turn it over to Chris, our IMET.
Good morning, everyone. Chris McKinney with the weather today. Start off by taking a look at the water vapor satellite here for the last hour or so. You can see Tropical Storm Gordon has moved inland. It's now decreased to a tropical depression and will continue to move off to the northwest today. You can see some drier air on the west side of that system. And then just very faintly, you can see the swirl of that upper level low, that upper level trough we've been talking about for most of the week. It's a little bit weaker today, a little bit further west, and that'll help to bring slightly lower rain chances for portions of the state today. Take a look at the radar. Again, see some showers and thunderstorms moving onshore in the middle Texas coast, and then a band of mostly showers here from portions of South Branch northward towards Abilene and Wichita Falls. And these are the two areas we'll primarily see precipitation during the day today. Looking at lightning strikes over the last 12 hours, again, we can see some activity up in the Panhandle branch from last night. See a band here in North Branch. Just to the west of the ICP, we had a line of showers and thunderstorms late yesterday afternoon through the early evening hours, developing with the afternoon heating. Precipitation in the last 24 hours, again, pretty much light to moderate rainfall for most of the state. Some locally higher totals there southwest of Houston, getting up close to 2 inches, and then also some isolated totals, 1.5 to 2 inches there in the Panhandle branch. So headlines for today. Most areas will see generally fewer showers and thunderstorms today than what we've seen the past few days. That's mainly because of that upper trough being a little bit weaker, a little bit further to the west than what we've seen. Portions of east and southeast Texas will see much less rainfall today due to that dry air wrapping around the backside of Gordon. And we do have a weak cold front that's moving into the Panhandle. It's just to the north of the state here this morning. We'll begin to move in over the next couple of hours and should push through about the northern third of the Panhandle branch by mid-afternoon. Looking into tomorrow, we'll see increasing rain chances along that front for Panhandle and western branches, but still lesser coverage across portions of east and southeast Texas. Looking at the weather chart for today, again, we have that upper level ridge well off to the east. The upper trough is weaker and further west today, so generally we'll see lower rainfall chances. And then there's that cold front moving in from the north, and then the remnants of Gordon. Looking at the high temperature forecast for today, warmer across the east, areas east of I-35, generally in the low to mid-90s. Cooler off to the west, mid-80s for portions of Panhandle and West Branch. Still going to see those high heat index values anywhere from 103 to 106 in the southern extent of South Branch. And one thing I want to bring particular attention to is anybody over in East Branch today, with the high moisture that we still have in place, but that lack of shower and thunderstorm activity, temperatures are going to be in the low 90s, but the heat index values will be anywhere from 100 to 104. So that's a lot higher than what we've seen the last few days. So due to the impacts of the moisture and lack of precipitation, it will feel much worse today. So be aware of that if you're working out there. Minimum relative humidity is relatively unchanged, 50 plus for much of the state, 40s and 30s as you get into far west Texas. Winds today, generally east 6 to 10 miles per hour for most of the state. The exception being up here in the Panhandle behind that front, we'll see northeast winds anywhere from 8 to 12. May get a few gusts in the 15 to 18 mile an hour range right with the frontal passage as it moves through your area. Looking at storm and rain chances, generally 40 to 60% across the two areas we've talked about. Lower rainfall totals for the rest of the state. Again, here's a model forecast of what the radar could look like. This is about 5 o'clock this afternoon. Again, as we saw yesterday, see some afternoon heating showers and thunderstorms developing here. Probably less coverage than what we've seen the past few days. But you can see the activity along the cold front there in the Panhandle branch, and then also the general lack of activity across East Branch and portions of Louisiana due to that dry air wrapping around the backside of Gordon. Here's a rainfall forecast for the next 24 hours. Again, note that large area with little to no precipitation, but still an area here that could see anywhere from 3/4 of an inch to an inch of rainfall. Looking at the tropical outlook, again, Gordon has moved inland. It's weakened to a depression. Aside from that drier air and lower rain chances, no impacts to the state of Texas. Florence remains a hurricane in the open Atlantic. And again, any impacts to the U.S., if there are any, would be several days away. And then we have one and now two other systems that may develop within the next 5 days. This is the peak of the Atlantic hurricane season, so this is fairly normal activity for this time of year. Again, no immediate impacts to land other than Gordon. Here's the track of Gordon again. It'll continue off to the northwest through early Friday and then begin to rapidly turn north and northeast and move away from the area. Looking at the 7-day rainfall totals, again, those higher totals from Gordon are off to our northeast, but with the cold front coming down and great moisture in place across the state, still have a chance to pick up a lot of beneficial rainfall for most areas of the state over the next week. And that is all I have for the weather today.
Well, good morning. We had 3 fires yesterday, one in San Augustine for a 10th acre, one in Potter County, 30 acres, and one in Cass County for 5 acres. And the lineup for today is just to kind of let everybody know, the Panhandle branch is back to local staffing, and all 3 of the offices there. West branch is local staffing. They have been for quite a while. The North branch, we've got, or Northwest branch, we've a couple of heavy equipment bosses that are down in Merkel, and Jim Cooper advises that he'll probably be releasing those, so we'll be moving those back down towards the South branch, but we're waiting to talk to Gary Barney today on that. The North branch, we've got one resource that's timing out up in Mineral Wells, and whenever he times out, he'll be going back to East branch, and we'll be back down to local staffing. So towards the end of the week, the Panhandle branch is already out of the IEP as far as their 204. West branch is not in there. We'll be dropping the Northwest branch and probably the North branch by Friday, and we'll just be including the Central branch and the South branch. We did move Task Force or Strike Team 44 from the North branch, Mineral Wells, and they're now down in Fredericksburg. And with that, if y'all have any questions out there as far as ops, get a hold to Ashley or Jason or myself, and we'll work through the issues. Thank y'all, and have a good day.
Morning, John McGee, Safety. Safety had a relatively good day yesterday. There were no serious accidents or serious injuries. We did have one of our folks here in the ICP have a case, I believe, of food poisoning. And he went down yesterday out in the bay. And the medical unit leader was on the spot in a heartbeat, administered patient care. We went through the drill. They ordered up an ambulance just in case, came very quickly. He has recovered. He's good to go. The point, it can happen to anybody, anywhere. We all need to know what our role is in the medical incident report or the emergency action plan, also known as the incident within an incident. I encourage all of you out there in the staging areas, practice it. If you're not going to practice it, if you do anything else today, break out the emergency action plan and read it. Just refresh yourself, familiarize yourself with the process, the procedures, and determine what your role is should one of your buddies all of a sudden end up on the floor. You need to know what to do, okay? We heard the weather. It's going to be rainy, wet all over the state for the most part. Keep an eye on your driving. It can be slick out there. It's still hot in a lot of places. You can still get heat exhaustion in this kind of weather, so you need to stay hydrated, keep an eye on each other, recognize if one of your crewmates is going into distress, and take action. Everybody, again, keep an eye on each other, and we'll all be back again tomorrow.
Good morning. I'm Verma, the Finance Section Chief. I would like to give kudos to everyone here. Everyone did a good job on completing their paperwork to close out the Texas incident for their fiscal year 2018. I can report that it's officially, we have everything in. I want to remind everybody now that we've done that, don't forget to use your 19 resource order numbers on your paperwork. Some folks are still, it's closed. And that tends to happen when we're at a slow pace like we are here. People don't tend to be as focused. We had to run down somebody yesterday that left their paperwork that didn't put their E-numbers on it. And these times are when we tend to make more mistakes because we're more relaxed, we're not moving enough, our body is not moving enough to get alert, so we need to stay alert. We have to kind of move, get out of our chairs and let the body circulate and walk, because this tends to be the time when things may happen. We all used to rage into the fire and working at a higher pace, and our heart rate is higher, our heart rate is lower here. So we need to look out for each other. As John said, we had a situation yesterday, but everybody was alert to this gentleman, and that helped prevent him from falling out of his chair, bumping his head. We need to check on each other, watch our bodies, and check on our neighbors. We don't want to have any incidents just because we're not alert. But I want you all to have a great, safe day. Thank you.
Well, with that, we'll be moving around a lot of resources next few days, so we just want everybody to watch your driving, watch where you eat, and also make sure that you watch out for each other out there, especially, you know, as we shift resources back down to the south, the central, and back to the east, with the heat indexes, those kind of things. If you've been in some of those areas, we've had cloud cover, a little bit cooler. Keep all those things in mind. So with that, everybody expect the unexpected. Thanks.
And with that, that concludes this morning's ops briefing. Thank you. Go out there and be safe.